Welcome to the SRS Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron J. Babyar, and I'm the Director of Support Raising Solutions. Whether you are a new ministry worker or a veteran looking to increase your competence and confidence, Support Raising Solutions seeks to bless you in your quest to be a spiritually healthy, vision-driven, and fully funded Great Commission worker. Well, happy Thanksgiving, and I am sitting down today with Cindy Vesperman, who is with Awana Clubs. And Cindy, thank you for joining me once again. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Aaron.
I know that this time of year, people have traditions, and sometimes those change and things like that. But before we jump right into talking about saying thank you and why that's so important, tell me a little bit about your family and what you're going to be doing for Thanksgiving.
Well, my family will get together, my sisters and my nephews, my dad and I.
In California?
In California,
okay.
Yes. I don't know if it'll be sunny, though.
Too soon, right?
Anyway, we'll get together with the family, and I am the pie baker.
Oh.
So I will be making apple pie, pumpkin pie.
Mouth just watered a little bit.
Right.
But I'm getting my chance. My family, we usually end up over at my mother's house and my in-laws' house. They live within 3 miles of each other.
Wow.
Yeah, I kind of have to watch what I'm eating a little bit because I can just go to town. But my favorite pie is actually a store-bought pie. I'm sorry, but I love the French silk pies from Village Inn.
Oh, well,
so,
French silk.
Yeah. So my wife is always really good to make sure we have at least one French silk pie. And I watch everybody else eat the pumpkins because I can't do pumpkin. I don't know why. I just can't do pumpkin. So
I'm not a big fan of pumpkin. I'll go for the apple.
Well, everybody, we will still want you to have a happy Thanksgiving, even though we don't particularly love the pumpkin stuff. But anyway, well, we wanted to talk about the whole process of saying thank you, because that is not just something that we do at Thanksgiving and we tell God thank you for the fruitful bounty and blah, blah, blah. And it's wonderful stuff. And it is a good thing to thank the Lord and be thankful and even have a lifestyle of being thankful to people. But specifically, when it comes to support raising, I know that saying thank you is something that for some people doesn't come quite as easy. Others, they're almost like too sweetly with it, like they're doing it constantly, which we're definitely for people, saying thank you a lot, but it might seem like almost disingenuous and over the top. And I haven't seen that problem too often, but I've noticed it once or twice. So Cindy, I just wanted to invite you in because I know that you've been with Awana Clubs for how many years now?
19.
So you've been fully funded for quite a while, and you've gotten the opportunity to not only say thank you to your supporters, but also to coach a bunch of people on saying thank you as well. So let's just kind of dig into that. And tell me, first of all, why is it essential that we as fully funded people that are raising and living off support, why is it essential to have that gratefulness and communicate that regularly to our supporters?
Well, I think it's important that we don't take their support for granted. And by saying thank you regularly, we let them know that they are a valuable part of our team and that without their support, we really wouldn't be able to do the ministry that God has called us to. So to just have that regular part of letting them know that they're valuable is key to having them continue to be on our partner team. And, for practical purposes for us, is the longer we can keep somebody on our support team, the less time we have to spend rebuilding some lost support. Oh, so true. It's so much easier to keep a supporter than it is to go out and find a new one. So, but also I think there's a posture involved in all of that, of saying thank you. That's personal. It is. You can just write it in different places, but when you're saying thank you, that elicits more of a relationship versus, there are ways that we get funds that we don't say thank you. Like I don't ever say thank you to an ATM machine, after I get cash out, I never say thank you if I'm using a debit card, now I might say thank you to the person who's checking me out. Right. But when you say thank you to a person, that elicits like, hey, there's
there's some gratitude here for our relationship and what we're partnering in together. So just go ahead and dig into that a little bit, if you would, Cindy. Tell us about some of the different ways that that support raisers can or should perhaps be saying thank you to those that partner with them.
Well, I think regularly, just even in your newsletter, to acknowledge that they're sending regular gifts. Mm-hmm. I know in my newsletter, even though it's a form letter, I always say thank you for however much, and I list them out that they give on a regular basis.
Oh, okay.
That's not the most personal, but just to make sure that they know that I'm at least personalizing the letter a little bit. Then a handwritten note saying thank you at the bottom of the letter.
Okay.
Then what I encourage some of the people that I am coaching to do is to pick 5 people a week and write a handwritten thank you card.
Oh, really?
Just go to the store, Walmart, buy, thank you notes.
Mm-hmm. Or if you get really organized, you can pre-order several hundred with your logo and all that kind of stuff,
you
right?
You could. I mean, but just like your mom taught you when somebody gave you a birthday or Christmas present, you write a handwritten thank you note. Mm. And they don't have to be long.
Right.
It can be 3 or 4 sentences, whatever. Mm-hmm. But that personal touch that lets you know that you're thinking very specifically about that individual partner carries a lot. I know when I get handwritten notes in the mail, it has a bigger impact to me than an email that I get.
Sure.
So handwritten thank you notes. I'm with Awana, and sometimes Awana creates little things just for the missionaries, or maybe the public can buy them, but I'll scoop up a bunch of them, and I'll if there's something that will fit nicely into an envelope, I'll just get enough and I'll send those out to my partners, just to let them know I'm thinking about them, something little that way.
Okay, great.
You might have heard us mention or refer to SRS Foundations, which is essentially the online preparation for SRS boot camps. It's a tool for leaders within organizations to use in a couple of different ways. For new staff training, as the online training component, which is combined with your own organizational live in-house training, or it can be used as a refresher training for your veteran staff. In order to have access to SRS Foundations, you do need to be an SRS Network member.
Now, I'm going to interrupt you real quick, and you can have other ideas, but I know there are some people going, man, that takes a lot of time. I have ministry to do. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to send 5 cards a week, or I'm not going to do all this kind of stuff. They might actually be saying that. I'm putting the words and the tone of voice in people's mouths, but there's probably somebody that's feeling that way. So unpack a little bit, and you don't have to go too far with this, but unpack why, in fact, you do, and you do have time, and you should make time for this sort of stuff.
Well, to be honest, to write 5 notes does not take very long. Mm-mm. It'll take a half hour. Mm-hmm. But the investment in your ministry partners is crucial, because by taking 5 minutes for one person to write a personal thank you note, you could actually be extending the partnership that they have with you by just letting them know you're thankful and you're thinking about them, letting them know that you're praying for them, or asking them how you can pray for the other person.
Sure.
And that's something that actually in my ministry, my relationship with my ministry partners, I'm trying to focus more on is, okay, you get my letters and I'm thanking you, but I need to know how I can pray for you. I tell you all the time how you can pray for me.
Sure. Yeah.
But I really want to know how I can pray for you. And it's been interesting, just the different responses, the transparency that I've gotten from some of my ministry partners.
Yeah, I bet.
That have said, we've got this family situation going on, or, I'm still struggling with this other thing, and how transparent they are, and for me to be able to pray for them. And then what I like to do is, as I'm rotating through praying for my ministry partners, is to send them a note saying, hey, I prayed for you about this topic today. Okay. And, again, it doesn't have to be very long, but just quick note. Hey, I prayed for you today. Just want to let you know.
I respect that because I have terrible handwriting, and I still to this day don't like writing cards. Now, I do cards sometimes because it's that important to me, but you sound way more organized than I am, so I think I need to be more like you.
I don't know about that, but
now, how often do you send those personal handwritten cards? Even though we're not saying that's the only way to say thank you, but we're on this topic at least. Let's say I'm on your support team. Let's say I give $100 a month. Not that you're promising me this, but how many cards do I get? Not just newsletters or maybe occasional texts, but you're not talking about like a weekly card.
Oh, no.
But how many cards might I get over the course of a year from you?
Maybe 2.
Okay, yeah. So it's not like this constant thing that's taking tons and tons of time.
Right.
Okay, great. Well, now, another way of saying thank you, I know, is that some people once a year will send like a tangible gift of some sort. And I know that's true of ministry leaders that are raising and living off support, both within the United States and even internationally. So what are some ways, or what are some different ideas you've heard of where people have sent something in the mail as just kind of an extra way of saying, hey, thank you for your partnership in this Great Commission work?
Well, I can tell you a couple things that I've gotten. There's a couple young women that I've supported that have served in China.
Okay.
And so one young woman, she sent me a bar of soap that was made in the province where she was serving. Okay. And, bar of soap is not what something, it's not what everybody likes, but because she thought of me, and it smells really good. Sure. And it was made where she is. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
And you didn't take that as a personal affront to your hygiene. It was like, a nice gift.
It really was. It was and it was wrapped really pretty. And then another young woman, where she was in China, they do this. They take paper and they, I guess, take some sort of a blade and they cut into it. So then what's left is this beautiful picture. And so very simple, inexpensive, and it went in the mail very nicely, came in the mail very nicely. But it was something that was very specific to where she was serving in China that she sent to me that said, hey, I wanted you to have this. I'm thinking about you. Right. And it's in a frame on the office wall.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. And so there's ways you can send little personal gifts like that doesn't necessarily have to be expensive.
No, it doesn't.
I know of several different friends that are serving globally that, they'll buy, we'll say 100 knickknacks of some sort, but it's relevant to where they're at and what they're doing. And they'll give them to a family member or somebody else traveling back to the States, and a different supporter might help package them up and send them out to everybody. Right. Or like there's different ways of doing that. But also in this day and age, I've certainly heard of people and I've done this myself, and I'm mostly am in the United States for the bulk of the work I do. And we just have a regular thing, and we do a little baked good. Once a year, we do a baked good. And now that I've been doing it for years, I start hearing from people if they haven't got their baked good by a certain time, because they count on it, and it's always kind of the same thing, but everybody seems to like it. And sometimes I'll hear from the spouse going, you know what, I love my husband, but that jerk, he ate everything. Do you have any extra? Because they love it. So we actually had to start sending the recipe along with the gift. And I always hear from people like, oh, we always we're so thankful to get that. And we usually turn around and we go buy some more groceries and we'll make it in bunches afterwards because we so appreciate it. But it's become a regular thing where I do it because I am thankful and it is a blessing to my supporters. But also I know that they're probably a little bit more likely to read the note that comes with it that says thank you. And by the way, that thank you, it's only a thank you. It's not an end of year ask. It's not a, hey, and just want to let you know the budget is this short. Like, it's only a thank you. And every year I kind of struggle with that a little bit because I'm like, oh, I want to tell them about this, this thing and this other thing and this other thing. And I've learned over time, I'm going to send them the thank you. And I'm going to also include a short story of a changed life that's from our partnership. And that's it. I'll send in the end of the year thing some other time. I'll reach out to them personally, about if there's any financial needs some other way. But I'm going to let my thank you be a thank you and not a bait and switch to try and get them to give more money right that moment. Tell me a little bit as far as, you mentioned that you put it in your newsletters. How often do you say thank you in your newsletters?
Well, every time I send a newsletter, it says thank you.
Good. I think sometimes people forget that. I've gotten way too many newsletters from people that didn't say thank you anywhere. Right. So that's definitely a big help. So I know that sometimes some people, they kind of wonder, it might even seem foreign to them that they should say thank you to people that are supporting them because they're kind of, they're kind of paying them to do the job and they're doing the job. But Cindy, that's not really the posture we want people to have, is it?
No, we want people to have a posture of appreciation and humility, really, that we have this team of people who have been called by God to partner with us, and that they truly are partners, and it's not just they're sending money to pay a bill or whatever, but they're really part of their ministry, and that we have that posture of appreciation and gratefulness.
Yeah, good point. And that can be a two-way street also. I mean, I've been kind of floored a couple times by supporters that have really paused me somehow, or I was sitting down with them for coffee and just kind of catching up with them or something. And they started profusely thanking me for the work I do. And I kind of in the back of my head, whether in that moment or later on, I'm like, wait a minute, they're passionately thanking me and they give me money to do the work I'm doing. This is kind of awesome because they're thankful because they can't get on a plane and go to Africa or Asia or some of the things that I get to do. But they can pray. They can have a relationship with me and they can give financially, but it wouldn't be the same if they didn't kind of have that, I guess, that place to give, that thing to partner with, that person to partner with, like what they do with me. So we can tell our supporters thank you, and sometimes they're gonna tell us thank you as well.
Right.
So, well, hey, as it's Thanksgiving, I know that sometimes people want to ask their family members to join their support team. And I know that you're someone that knows quite a bit about all of that. Why is it probably not the best place to try and turn Thanksgiving meal into a support raising opportunity?
Time with family needs to be time with family.
Mm-hmm.
When we're celebrating Thanksgiving, in our country, it's a time to be thankful for what God has provided for us and to appreciate, the harvest from, the pilgrims, but just the relationships that we have, and to turn a family celebration into a support raising presentation. It's not the most appropriate.
Yeah.
If somebody asks you what's going on, sure, answer their question.
Right.
But I think, in the middle of a family gathering is not really the time to pull out your support presentation and all of that.
Don't hijack the turkey for an ask, right? Right. Yeah. And so I know that probably throws some people into a conundrum that might be listening to this that had those very plans for the upcoming holiday. So it can still happen. But we would just encourage you, if you're going to have if you're going to have a presentation with Uncle Mike, maybe ask Uncle Mike to have an appointment with you or at Starbucks. It could even be Thanksgiving Day, but maybe just kind of step away from the normal rhythm and the routine of the family and just say, Mike, I'd love to share with you about the ministry and but I don't want to take all day. It's Thanksgiving. Could we go grab coffee for 30 minutes or an hour or so? Could we run over to the coffee shop? And you can have appointments. But don't kind of interrupt the family flow, so to speak. Even if you're not with family, maybe you just might be with a bunch of friends and people and stuff like that. But be sensitive to what people's hopes and dreams for the holiday is versus what your needs might be.
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, Cindy, thank you once again for joining me. Thank you for doing this Thanksgiving podcast with me.
My pleasure.
And I hope you have an enjoyable time making and eating your pies.
Thank you.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks for joining us for this episode. We would love to hear your ideas for future content. Please visit supportraisinSolutions.org/feedback to share your thoughts and questions. Also, wherever you download your podcasts from, be sure to subscribe for future episodes and come back each week to gain more insight into the process of building and maintaining your personal support team.